a lot of people think we're at the fourth industrial revolution, people are calling it. So where do you think we are? Where are we in the revolution today?
First of all, good morning and thank you for coming. It's really amazing to see such wonderful leaders all seated here. Industry 4.0, and you probably, a few would have referred it to revolutionizing, or what we call it, revolutionizing Industry 4.0. It's actually a technologies of companies that have adoption of cloud computing, AI, IoT, and what you call it as cybersecurity to digitalize their business operations. Well, in Malaysia landscape, what I actually see is that we have actually done a lot of researchers and we have partnered with IDC. And according to IDC, the adoptions is really depending on how fast the sectors would drive the business operations. And banking sectors would be leading the way, followed by healthcare and retail. And it's amazing to see that according to IDC, the Malaysian GDP will be digitalizing their business operations at a rate of 21% by 2022.
Good to hear. So as you mentioned, the National Industry 4.0 initiative, that's Industry 4.0 is a bit of an ASEAN buzzword this year. So you've got initiatives in Philippines, in Thailand, and in Malaysia. Where do you think Malaysia is compared to the other ASEAN countries in terms of the 4.0 initiatives?
Right. I think most of the leaders here today would agree with me that it is at a very fast rate of adoption. In fact, if you look at MIDA's initiative, it's all about revolutionizing. And the digital economy space is really a sector that everybody is looked upon. And with Zurina here from MDEC as well, I think the digital economy stands to actually see how it's going to progress in the country. Well, it's interesting to see the adoption, and here in IBM, we would like to partner with you to actually run what we call it as a cost optimization strategy to drive the growth of the digital here in this country.
So you think Malaysia is doing the best in ASEAN so far?
Well, the best is subjective. But I think we are at the forefront of a runner with the government initiatives and also with the leveraging of the private sector strategy. We believe that we have the right tools here in the country to grow to the next level.
Good stuff. So maybe going up a level, talking about AI, and there's lots of utopian or a pessimist viewpoint on what AI is going to do to wider society. We'll focus on the utopian view, because it's breakfast, we'll stay happy. So the utopian view sounds great to me. So we'll, all the repetitive jobs and menial jobs, they'll be done by robots with artificial intelligence that will release people like me maybe to sit in my garden at home, write poems, be creative. How close do you think we're going to get to that utopian viewpoint? Where are we heading towards with regards to AI in society?
Right. So AI in the heart of everything is all about data. Today, when you talk about data, it's actually the disruption that's happening in every economy that we drive. And imagine every one of us, every person that generates 1.7 megabyte data per second, how much of unused data insights that's been done. So we here at IBM believed that AI is the heart of the data production, and we have built super power computers, massive enough to generate data per second. And on AI, we also believe in something that we adopt, which is trust and technology. Around trust and technology, that in the principles that we run through will be the three pillars. Pillar number one is AI is to augment human intelligence. Pillar number two is AI is running through the data insights belongs to the creator. And the fundamental belief on the point pillar number three, which is very critical and important, is technology is running through unbiasedness and transparency. Now, the utilization of technology has to help the world to become better, people to become smarter, industry to run better, and cost optimization among the heart of all.
Do you, any of the guys and girls at IBM, have you ever heard them come back and say, you know, we've developed this fantastic piece of AI technology, but we're worried that it could be used in the wrong hands or anything like that? Where does ethics versus technological development sit? Where's the balance, do you think, at the moment?
IBM is the most ethical company in the world, and we believe on the trust and transparency of the technology. Now, as you look at the principles that we have developed in our technology as we run AI, as long as we run on the 3 pillars of course, where it is to augment human intelligence, it is to actually run through the data of a core insights that belongs to the creator, and in AI that we develop for organizations, businesses, government agencies, all the transparency and explainable process steps that we put in place, this is where we will actually build towards the thrust of building this technology.
Do you think every AI company has the same ethics process?
I would believe IBM would have the best ethics process. I would not be able to speak for others.
Good stuff. Okay. So maybe on that note, in the world, obviously IBM doing great things. In terms of countries, there seems to be a bit of a divide between the US and China with regards to their approach to AI. Who do you think is going to win this race?
Let me talk about the content in Malaysia. Yeah, and it's probably an emulation to where Asia looks at AI adoption today. So in Malaysia, we have had a lot of reference sites and success stories across education, across telco, and across banking sectors. So let me give you specific examples. In telco, IBM has partnered with Time.com to develop what we call it as the smart virtual assistant customers. So Time.com leverages something called T-Box or chat box that uses IBM Watson intelligence that runs through natural, what we call it as the language processing automations that processes almost 1,000 unique cases, questionnaires, and also scenarios. Now, the output of it that you can actually see in the Facebook fan page would be how the leveraging of the AI Watson runs through a very systemic customers questionnaires and also what we have emulated as the resolutions of the forefront. Now, this helps Time.com to be able to have a very fast resolution time to the customers and at a very efficient speed of resolution. What we have actually worked through as a revolution with customers' experience insight. This is not only cost optimization, but it's also a customer experience as the way we serve the clients across this industry. Second of all, we partnered with TAR University College to build a data analytics lab. So what has been progressed through is that we have had a platform for master degrees and PhD students to be able to leverage on the lab to build SME structures and to run initiatives across. Now, these initiatives has been adopted by 12 SMEs across 18 months and is generally based on agriculture, Industry 4.0, and also smart IoT. Now, what does this do? This not only boosts the economy of the country, but it also helps the students to be able to get a better prospects when they leave their college life. Lastly, I would like to share with you on DBS Bank. DBS Bank has actually leveraged on us with what we call it as the robot process automation. Now, there's 12 million customers that has had a good experience running through DBS, and this is all smart automation, and the customer experience not only spent in Malaysia, is also spent across Southeast Asia. And when you actually combine these experiences that we have with the customers, it actually shows that AI not only has a good business transformation to the customers, but it's also helping the growth of the economy across the Asia countries.
Good stuff. It's good that you mentioned universities because we'll come back to that in a bit. But AI, very exciting. Everyone's getting very excited about it. I want to use the word hype. So when many years ago, when I had less grey hair, I did events about the cloud, and everyone was very excited about the cloud, saying you need to move everything to the cloud, absolutely everything to the cloud. 80% of that's being repatriated back because everyone got a bit too excited about that, and now they're realizing the reality of what the technology can do and what not. So AI, with regards to the hype cycle, are we getting a bit too excited? Are we thinking it's going to change the world, but then when people engage with AI, they think, oh dear, that's not quite what we want, then it will scale back? I mean, what is AI going to mirror the hype cycle with cloud, do you think?
I think most of the leaders here would agree with me. There is always a transformation journey. And the transformation journey really depends on the adoption of how fast you want your business organizations to run. And aside from that, what I actually see in AI is 80% of the researchers say that there is still unpredictable data in your organizations. Now, when you have unpredictable data in the organizations, it cannot be output through for business operations, for customer experience, and most importantly, for the business outcomes that you are seeking for. So in IBM, we believe that in utilization and the using of the information analytics will be able to concede through back your data for a better business outcomes and for your customers' experiences. Now, having said that, this is actually a journey. Transformation journey really involves two journeys that we progress through. What we have had on a hybrid cloud journey and digital transformation journey. Now, these two has to go hand in hand for us to be able to drive the AI journey here in the adoption of the country and also the organizations.
Good stuff. So with maybe it's coming to an end now, the trade war, hopefully. 6 months ago, if you as IBM knocked on a big company's door in Malaysia and said, "Hello, let's talk about AI," do you think this CEO would have said, "Yeah, let's come in and have a chat," or would they have said, "We've got the trade war going on at the moment. Let's postpone this chat"? So where do you think technology sits alongside things like the trade war? Can you have those conversations at the same time, or are CEOs a bit more big things like that? They're looking a bit more short term.
Right. I would actually say that the adoption from the knowledge transfer to the utilization, to the implementation, journeys through where we are in the organizations and in the agencies that we sit in. Most important is that when I looked at the demographic of technology, it has transformed tremendously. And with the push from the government initiatives, with the education knowledge that has actually been input, I would actually say that 6 months landscape to today, it has changed drastically. Now, if you look at worldwide, IDC has predicted that with the robust transformation, there will be a 3.5 billion spent on AI. And increasingly, this is 44% of growth from where we were before. And when you actually look at the demographics of Malaysia, by 2022, the adoption on cloud and AI is going to be $621 million US. And with this data that shows you, it actually means that the translation of data will equip into where they know they must do it, but when they do it, how they do it, and wrapping up with cost optimization strategy to run it. So in my opinion, the landscape is ready with the readiness of strategy in place, with the help of the government agencies' knowledge. It will be incredible to see how it moves in. For example, I give you some insights that the government has done. When there was actually a launch in the budget last year in 2018, AI was a widely spread across topic that was tabled through in the parliament. And this is a true spiraling down of a reflection of the adoption that we are going through in this country. And more likely, when you actually talk to CEOs with the leaders that are here present in this room, we will know that the importance of AI is not a nice to have, it's a must to have. And this is where the digital transformation will grow the technology levers to the next level. And the insights that we have today, it is critical that we have the adoption strategy as we progress through what we call it as the marginal growth in this country.
So I know Serena's sitting 5 foot away from us, but do you think the government's doing a good job? What could they do that's better?
Right. I won't steal Serena's thunder. I think she will have the right insights to do, but this is sufficient enough for us to actually ground ourselves, to have the belief that the Industry 4.0, the revolutionizing of 4.0, getting the skill sets ready, getting the trainings done, getting the investment of the SMEs towards gearing it to a better country is where we can be able to see how the government initiatives are tabled through over the past many months.
Good stuff. So this digital transformation phase, IBM, you're calling the cognitive enterprise. Maybe you could tell me a bit more about that quickly.
Cognitive enterprise is actually a simplified explanation of what we call it as companies utilizing unpredictive data, unique technologies, and also a skill sets to drive the digital transformation to the next level.
Good stuff. So, cognitive enterprise, you just told us what it is. So what examples have you got of companies that have engaged with this sort of digital transformation? What's been the impact on their operations? Any bottom line, ups or downs? Can you give us some examples, please?
Right. So when you look at the adoption of cognitive data, it has been amazing how the Malaysian has journeyed through to become the pride of the digital transformation. Earlier on, I spoke about education. I actually shared about also banking sectors, and most of all, to wrap it up, if actually telcos. But when you look at all the adoptions in Malaysia, leading the way is the banking sectors. And there's a need of disruptive data. Not only that, it's actually running on the agility. When you talk about agility of organizations, these various sectors will be able to understand through how the AI can be able to help them run. Now, examples that we have in country is also examples we have worldwide. Orange Bank in France is actually running on AI intelligence, and this is where they have had seen results in not only cost reduction, but also the way that they drive the retail business to the next level. And Japan Airlines, right, is utilization of our artificial intelligence technology to be able to drive the utilization of customer experience. Most of all, is actually to translate to the business growth of their companies.
Have you got, maybe worldwide or in Malaysia, have you got any numbers you can share about the ROI in terms of a company's invested in these cognitive solutions? What's been the return on that?
Right. ROI numbers, as I shared, is very subjective. It actually depends on what would the organization look throughout the output of where it is. Analytics data, cloud computing, AI, IoT is actually a journey that you piece together as a master transformation journey in the organizations that you run. Now, the through output of what our leaders here today would like to hear from are three. Number one is, what is my revenue growth? Number two is, what is the efficiency of the human resources? And most important thing that is surrounding all is, how can I be competitive? Now, change is constant. If we do not change, technology's company will fade away. And we have actually seen this in the past decade. And when you run on technology, it's not a need, it's a must. And running on the ROI that you actually see the organizations, when you look at the transformation journey of your organizations that you run in, you will be able to embrace what we actually call it as the digital transformation for the betterment of organizations.
So revenues went up or down, normally?
Definitely up.
Good to hear. Across all industries, or is there certain industries that are more suited to these solutions?
Subjective, because technology can drive the output, but it's also many pillars that run through. And many leaders here will also agree with me that we are all into a very driving seat of technology and business growth. It has to be up. There's no way down to be down.
Good stuff. And then, as you mentioned before, at universities, so that, to me, with my degrees in politics, I'm worried about the future because I've never done coding. So reskilling employees, how important is that? How can we help big companies reskill their employees and employees like me who've got degrees in politics?
Right. I'll share with you the amazing journey in IBM Malaysia. And I've actually seen so much of talents across that have got backgrounds like you that became one of the best technical engineers in the region. So technology is life. Technology is about learning every day. You would not be able to sit in a degree that you had 12 years ago to be able to run technology today, because it is actually a life learning journey for the many, many months that you actually run in. And because it's so constant, change is what I call is inevitable. So I've got good news for you, Mark.
I'm good
Even
to hear
in
it.
politics, you can be the best of a technologies with a proper training process. So I want to share with you what IBM has done in Malaysia and across globally, and that would resides with Serena. So there are actually 3 prongs of pillars that we have done: people, process, and data. It's all about people, and I actually call it skills, skills, and skills. You got to be able to drive the skills, the ability to invest in your people, to have the north, south skill sets. Politicians like you, politics graduate like you, even economists like me, can embrace into technology. Number 2, it's all about the manpowers that you invest into the people. Now, in IBM, we embrace through 40 hours of a yearly embrace through trainings. It's all about training. We just have to elevate the organization to the next level. And people is an asset of the organization. And that is where the investment comes in. Then come process. Your process has to be agile enough to be able to embrace this technology change. And when you talk about process, it's all about how you code yourself in the organization to invest in where we are at. In Malaysia, we have got 2, what we call it as Center of Digital Excellence, located one in Cyberjaya and one in IBM Plaza. And we have actually ran about 100 clients and partners through knowledge transfer on AI, on digital transformation, on IoT, and on what we actually call it as cloud computing as well. And lastly, it's all about data. Now, we talk a lot about AI. We spoke a lot about how disruptive data is if it's not being utilized to the betterment and to the management of the organizations. So you have to be able to run through the data as a walk the talk. In IBM, how did we walk the talk? We actually transferred through Watson AI into human resource organization, and we evaluate through the skill sets of our employees, how we can actually drive them to the next level. How do we transform them to the technology that we are today to be a trusted advisors of the leaders that are seated here in this room. And with these 3 pillars consolidated, I would actually say you will be a very good technologist in 6 months' time.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Look forward to it. So we've got 3 minutes left. If anyone's got any questions, please raise your hands. But while we do that, so what these sort of solutions attached to AI in Malaysia, what sort of growth rates are IBM predicting in terms of this part of the business?
Right. So let's talk about worldwide data. So IDC has predicted the spend on AI will be 3.5 billion. And out of what the context is, the amazing part is that the growth rate is at 44%. Let's spiral down to Malaysia context. By 2022, 21% of the Malaysia GDP will be digitalized. So let's look at the context of the growth. This is where IBM has came in. So we have had 9,100 patents as we stand across 2018, and out of which 1,800 patents are on AI. This is the growth that we see. This is the generals that we have, and this is where we actually look that we would like to partner with each and every one of you, with the government agencies, with the conglomerates, and with the industries to have the journey together with us in having the growth that we are adopting in our technology business today.
So thank you. So got 1 minute left. If anyone's got any questions, again, please raise your hand. Small caps and smaller businesses. So let's say I've gone from my job as a politics graduate. I've learned how to code. I've got a startup that's done well. It's a small cap. All of these solutions with regards to AI, they do sound fantastically expensive, if I might say so myself. So smaller companies versus big companies that are investing in AI, is this not going to create a larger divide? So massive companies, they're going to charge ahead with AI, they're going to transform their business. Small caps, they're going to still grow maybe, but at a slower rate. Is that not going to create more divides in the economy, do you think, between the AI haves and have-nots?
Technology is about a journey of adoption. It's about adapting to where your business is today. Now, what I have actually shared and observed through the conglomerates and also the businesses here in Malaysia is you pace yourself. Pace yourself within the organization that you want growth, and always have in mind that constant in change. For example, if you understand that data is actually at the heart of everything, disruption, as you may call it, repetition, as you may call it, as you wrap around artificial intelligence across data, it will be the heartbeat of your company. We cater through a technology through small and big organizations. With the development of data analytics lab across colleges, across where we have planted in our companies, we will partner together with small startups like you if you would choose to have an embark of journey of career the next time, to be able to train, to be able to have a knowledge transfer to you, and most of all is to be able to partner with you to actually realize that technology does not reside in a one setup company, 100 setups company, or 1,000 setups company. It's all about we understand a journey of a digital economy is where the business startups and the business runs up has to be in. Now, for example, I just shared with you what we have actually partnered through with TAUC. We actually had something called smart agriculture. And we are now working on, with this analysis and the labbers, to run through what we call it as ginger crops. How do we actually market and export through ginger in Malaysia and make it as a business in agriculture? This is something that we are running. And the startup companies are startups of less than 100. And the future is bright for you, Mark.
Good.
And I think this is where you actually need to drive through to the next level, because technology is where the disruption of strategy will be, and it is where you bring the organization to the level of what we call it as a digital transformation journey, wrapping up the hybrid cloud infrastructure to make it where you will want to bring your organization to the next level.